If you're a step parent and you've ever wondered, how much authority should I actually have with my stepkids? This video is for you. Because one of the fastest ways that step parents end up feeling rejected, resentful, or burned out is by making a few really common mistakes around discipline and authority. Today, I'm going to walk you through the three mistakes that I see all the time, not because step parents are doing it wrong, but because no one actually teaches us how parental authority works differently in step families. I'm Alex Harrison. I'm a licensed therapist, a step family coach, and a stepmom myself. So let's get started with step parenting mistake number one, overcorrecting into authoritarian parenting. Here's a hard little nugget of truth for you. The research tells us that parents tend to want more warmth and flexibility from their step parent partners, while step parents often want more structure and limits from parents. And this stark difference in desire tends to lend itself to a polarization between parents and step parents. It's also really common that single parents tend to engage in a more permissive parenting style. And by that, we mean high on warmth and connection, but low on limits and age appropriate expectations. And that makes some sense, right? When you only have your kids half time, for example, the last thing that parents want to do is navigate a lot of conflict around chores or screen time limits or consequences. But in the presence of a permissive parenting approach, step parents tend to react by wanting to fix what they sense is out of balance. And again, totally understandable, but more often than not, they get pulled into a more authoritarian parenting approach, meaning lots of firm limits and boundaries, but less warmth and emotional responsiveness. And guess what happens when a parent notices this happening? They push back by parenting in the opposite direction and getting even more permissive. And then we find ourselves in this nasty little dance of a polarized conflict between partners. And what's worse, when a step parent takes an authoritarian parenting approach, it does damage when it comes to the step parent stepchild relationship because it doesn't feel emotionally safe for kids. And kids don't move towards relationships when they don't feel trust and safety. You might get short term compliance from an authoritarian approach, but it's a recipe for long-term alienation from stepkids. Okay, step parenting mistake number two, leading with discipline before connection. This is one of the most common and the most understandable mistakes that step parents make. I mean, think about it. When you step into a family, you're stepping into rules and routines and expectations, so it feels logical to just enforce them. It may also be the case that your parent partner fully expects you to take an equal role in this. Or if you're a step parent who's also a bio parent, it makes sense that the parenting you're already doing would just extend outward to your stepkids as well, right? But here's the problem. Discipline only works when there's a relationship of depth underneath it. For kids, especially in step families, connection is currency. Without it, correction doesn't feel supportive, it just feels intrusive. So when a step parent jumps in to correct behavior before a child feels emotionally safe with them, the child's nervous system doesn't hear guidance, it hears threat. And that's why you'll often see resistance or shutdown or even escalation instead of cooperation. Research consistently shows that step parents are the most effective when they focus on building rapport, being predictable and kind and interested and emotionally available, and let biological parents take the lead on discipline, especially in those first couple years. I want to challenge you to adopt the idea that connection is not a reward for good behavior. It's the prerequisite for any discipline to work at all. And connection is the foundation for building a trusting bond between you and your stepchild. And this brings us to our third common mistake when it comes to parenting in a step family, and that is enforcing rules without parent alignment. Now, step parents, I just want to say I see you here because I have been here. Step parents enter a family system from a pretty unique vantage point. We're close enough to be impacted by the system, but far enough away to see patterns. We notice when things feel chaotic or inconsistent or too permissive, and we bring our own values and lived experiences into the picture, how we were parented, what worked, what didn't. So it makes total sense for us to step in and say, hey, this has got to change. So why not just move forward and parent from your perspective? Because your partner also has a deeply ingrained parenting perspective shaped by their values, their history, and often a lot of guilt. And when a step parent enforces rules that the parent is not fully aligned with, even if those rules feel totally reasonable, it creates a triangle. The child gets caught between two adults who aren't on the same page, and the step parent often becomes the bad guy by default. And guess what? When you're in this little drama triangle, all the energy is going to the conflict between the couple. It's not going towards effective parenting or needed discipline. Successful step family parenting embraces finding some alignment, and partners get there through a lot of private, honest conversations about values, limits, and expectations. When parents lead discipline and step parents reinforce what's already agreed upon, authority actually feels shared instead of imposed. I'm passionate about sharing these mistakes with you because, as a stepmom myself, I'm not ashamed to say that I have lived this out in real time. And I know that if you can avoid these mistakes, you can protect the relationship with your stepkids and with your partner. Like and subscribe to learn more about how to create your own step family reset.